Hi guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to Dumb Blonde Books. Today I'm doing my June wrap-up, so I'm going to be telling you guys about all the books that I read in June. I read a total of 8 books and I DNF'd 1 book, which, if you don't know, stands for did not finish. Of those 8 books, I had 1 2.5 star, 1 3 star, 3 4 stars, 1 4.5 star, and 2 all-time favorite 5-star books. Overall, a pretty good reading month. All of those averaged together is an average of 4 stars even. I felt like the books that I was reading were overall decent, so I'm happy about it. So I guess first we have to start with my one book that I DNF'd this month, which I'm so sad about. Really disappointed. The book that I DNF'd this month at 53% is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. I'm so mad and so sad about this. I received this as an ARC through NetGalley. This book isn't even out yet, and I read it on my new Kindle. I decided that her name is Kendall Jenner, obviously. So The It Girl follows this girl named Hannah, and it goes between 2 timelines. One of the timelines is in the past where she's a student at Oxford. Her best friend / roommate, the It Girl, her name is April, she is murdered. Present day, Hannah finds out that the man that was convicted of her roommate's murder has died in prison. And now people believe that he was actually innocent the whole time. And she's the one that gave this damning evidence about the man that was convicted. So all eyes are on Hannah, very confused, because they're like,
girl, why did you send this man to jail? We think he's innocent and now he's dead.
So at first, as I was reading, I was like, this seems like it's taking forever to get through. I feel like I've been sitting here reading for 3 hours and I'm barely making a dent. And then I went to look on Goodreads to see how many pages this book is when it will be published hardback. Guess how many pages this book is? This cute little thriller. Guess how many pages? You wanna guess? The hardcover of this book is 432 pages. Here I am reading, and I get to the 50% mark, and I realize I've read over 200 pages and nothing has happened. I generally don't have a problem with longer thrillers, as you'll see later in this wrap up, but girl, that's a little ridiculous. I don't know if I just don't vibe with Ruth Ware's writing style or the way she constructs her plots, but girl, if I've read 200 pages into your book and I'm still getting through the synopsis on the back,
we're gonna have beef. We're gonna have beef.
People who like this, good on you, but I need something of substance by the 30, even 40% mark. But girl, if I get to 50% and I don't care about the characters, nothing interesting has really happened, and I'm pretty sure I know who the killer is, I'm not gonna keep reading. I tried so hard, and getting to 53% of this book, I say I gave it the good college try. I did not want to sit here and bash this book because I was so thrilled to receive an ARC for it. Take everything that I say with a grain of salt because I did DNF the book. Who knows? It could redeem itself, but I don't care to find out. So that is just my opinion. Love you, Ruthie, but this was not it for me. This was not it for me. Okay, I'll stop. Big sad. Moving on. Oh, this next one is big sad too. We're here for honesty. I'm not sugarcoating this. We are here for the tea and the hot takes. My least favorite book of the month at 2.5 stars is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I'm so sad about this. Listen, this rating is not to say that this book wasn't entertaining, because it was. And that's what the 2.5 stars are for, is just pure camp entertainment. I would rather this than a book that is super boring and I can't even get through. At least this had something going on, you know? So The House Across the Lake follows this woman named Casey, and she is an actress, but she has some drinking problems and she's dealt with a lot of really bad press recently. So her mom says, hey, you should take a break and go to our lake house and just decompress, find yourself, chill out. And classic trope, while she's there, she is spying on her neighbors across the lake through these binoculars, and she thinks she smells trouble and that the wife across the lake was murdered. I don't want to say too much about this book. I do not mind twists of this nature. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. There were just some things about this book I found unbelievable, not the speculative elements, but other things that just like should not have been a plot hole. In this book, someone supposedly dies from 3 glasses of wine and antihistamines. That's Benadryl, okay? This person supposedly drowned and could not swim because of Benadryl and wine. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. There were so many rules and contingencies to this speculative twist that I couldn't wrap my head around. I don't mind speculative elements as long as the rules are solid. I don't mind it. This made very little sense, even to our main character. At the end, she was like, I don't really know how this works, but and I was like, yeah, girl, me neither. And I don't think Riley Sager knows either, and he's the one that wrote it. The one thing that shook me that I really, really, really liked was the twist that was not speculative. That was everything. Besides that, this was a big, drunken, sloppy mess, but at least she wasn't boring. So I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Still a letdown, but it was something. I'm not mad that I read it. So next up is my 1 3-star read, which is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This book follows a reporter. Her name is Camille, and she gets assigned to report on the murders of these 2 young girls, which happens to be in her hometown. So she goes back to her hometown. She has to live with her mother and her younger sister as she reports on the murders of these young girls. This is the second Gillian Flynn I've read. I read Gone Girl last year, and it was one of my favorite books I've ever read. I was pleasantly reminded of how witty and funny Gillian Flynn's writing style is, while also being deep and visceral. I really enjoyed the characters in this book. I think all of Gillian Flynn's characters are just brilliant. The reason I gave it 3 stars was because I was pretty sure who the killer was the entire time, and I was right, which didn't bother me too much. It did take away from my reading experience just a little bit. Normally, Gillian Flynn's twists hit me a little harder, but this one didn't. The little romance that was in this book kind of rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. It wasn't really explained, resolved. This book wasn't life-changing. The highlight is definitely just her writing, not the plot, not the twist, but I'm glad I read it. I had a good time, but Gone Girl is just worlds better. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Now we're into all of my 4-star reads. At the bottom of my 4 stars, we have Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. This book follows all the mommy drama, all the bougie hot moms. Oh my god, this book made me want to be a mom so bad. Catch me with my designer stroller and my heels, dropping my kids off, living the fantasy. This book follows Madeline, who is a single mom, and she's just moved to this seaside town in Australia, and she's thrust into this world of cliquey moms and PTA meetings and dinners and book clubs. She befriends these 2 other moms specifically, and in each of their perspectives, you see the secrets that they're hiding, see the lies that they tell. From the beginning, you know that someone in this town has been murdered because everyone is getting questioned, but you have no idea who it is, who killed them, and you go through getting to know these ladies and their husbands and their friends, and everything just culminates and pieces together at the end. I had so much fun with this book. I was really surprised. I was a little intimidated at first because this is a really big book, especially for a thriller. However, it was so cheeky, funny, bougie, cliquey. Oh, just the summer, salacious mommy drama. I never knew that I needed. I just loved it. I just ate it up. So I didn't mind that this was a bigger book because I was entertained, things were being revealed, things were happening, and I lived for the characters. Everyone is gonna come for me. I totally knew the twist by the time certain pieces were revealed. I thought it was very, very obvious. However, it was a good twist. It's a very much good for her book. This was the perfect book to read in summer. I really, really liked it. Solid 4 stars and a really good time. Loved it. My next 4-star of June, you've already heard me talk about. It's Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez. I have a whole vlog, I'll link it right here, of me reading this extreme horror book and living for it. Spoiler alert, I really enjoyed it. The more I sit and think about this book, the more that I like it, but I'm gonna stay at a solid 4 stars. This book follows a couple as they're road tripping. They get pulled over by a cop, and the cop says, "Hey, citizen's arrest. Somebody called and said you were recklessly driving, so we need to put you in jail for the night that we can process your case and get you in the courts by Monday." They're like, "This is booty cheeks, but okay, I guess we'll do what you say because we don't have a choice." The wife has to stay in a motel overnight, and while she's in the motel by herself, she gets grabbed by these people who want to put her in a torture film, and she has to survive. This book was so good, so gory. Don't read this book if you can't handle it. It is extreme horror. So, girl, if you don't think you can handle this, you can't, so don't grab it. If you want to hear my full thoughts, here's my vlog. My last 4-star, and probably the biggest surprise of the month, is The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. This book, oh my god, I've never read a stronger beginning. The beginning of this book was perfection. I was about 25 pages in, and I looked at my boyfriend and I said, "I think this might be my favorite book of all time." At 25 pages, that is so impressive. And normally the beginnings of books are so difficult for me to get into. All I'm thinking about is the last book that I read. It's not a fun time.
Like, I don't care about these characters yet.
It's a chore. The beginning of this book was so, if you're in a slump, read this book. This book would be so good for you. So good for you. Especially if you're like me and you like reading about like bougie rich people. Oh my god, the way things were described in this book. This follows such a wealthy family. Like whatever you're thinking of, times it by 10. Like Kardashian level wealth. And just the way they described literally the gravel in the driveway, I was like freaking out.
I was like, yes, the driveway, the trees, the shrubbery, the designer clothes, the bags, like.
Oh, yes, and then on top of that, throw in a mystery thriller plot. So good! You're probably sitting there wondering, A, what this book is about, and B, why didn't I give it 5 stars? I'll tell you. This book follows the wealthy couple, the Parrishes, and it's about this feisty little schemy little scammer girl as she tries to infiltrate this family, and she plans in such detail how to take over this wife's life and just literally replace her. So she's trying to steal the job, she's trying to steal the man. She has all of it planned out, and she literally infiltrates the family from the inside out and just like crawls her way into wealth and luxury. I love a good scheme. I love a good plan. Everything's in place, all the crumbs, all the little details. I just love it. I just think of that scene from National Treasure, which is my favorite movie, of when they're like planning how to steal the Declaration of Independence. That is like cinematic genius, and that is the vibe that I got, but make it bougie, okay? The reason I gave it 4 and not 5 stars is because I really didn't like the direction that this book took. At the beginning, I was super into it, obviously. By the end, I felt like I was reading a totally different book, and a book that has been done so many times. I wasn't as invested as I was at the beginning, and the end left a little more to be desired, I thought. However, since it started so strong, the vibes were so good, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. You gotta read this book. especially in the summer. So good. Next up is my 4.5 out of 5 star for the month of June, and that was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I'd heard this book talked about so much, and I was so surprised when I ended up loving it. This book is about a wedding that is taking place on this isolated Irish island. There's a lot of British, Irish vibes and jargon, and in classic Lucy Foley fashion, at the beginning, you know that there's a murder, but you have no idea who did it, who died, when it is gonna happen. In the flashback chapters, you slowly get more and more information. And in the present day chapters, you're slowly getting more and more information until they converge in the middle and you figure out what happened. I went into this book so unsuspecting, low expectations. And because of that, I wasn't really paying attention, trying to figure things out. I was so shook by the twist. If you have slept on this book because you think it has to be overhyped, everyone's talking about it like it looks boring. It's not. It's really well done. I really enjoyed The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, so I figured I was gonna like this okay. This was way better than The Hunting Party. Way more twists, way better characters, and the person that actually did it, I didn't see it coming. And that is saying something because I guess a lot of things. So for that reason, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I felt like the red herring game was a little too strong in this, but I understand why. There's only so many characters it could have been. I thought there were some loose ends that weren't really tied up by the end. So for those reasons, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, but holy crap, this book shook me. It was really good. If you want just like a really quick, but also really smart, well done thriller, this is brilliant. Okay, now we're into my 5-star reads. These 2 books changed my life. My first 5-star read is Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes by Karen Slaughter. This is a little baby prequel to her book Pretty Girls, which is one of my favorite books of last year. Pretty Girls follows these 2 sisters, Claire and Lydia, and I don't want to spoil Pretty Girls. You have to read it. All you need to know is that their 3rd sister went missing a long, long time ago when she was in college. And this is the prequel told from the 3rd sister's perspective, the oldest sister's perspective. If you know me in real life, you know that I am the oldest of 3 girls. Hearing the way that Julia talks about her younger sister, oh my God, I'm getting choked up. This book brought a lot of emotions out of me, and just knowing what happens to Julia and how it wrecked this family. This book follows Julia in the moments before she gets taken. There were just so many details that I related to, and it made her so much more human instead of just this force, this figure that they talk about in Pretty Girls. The way that she talks about loving her sisters and hating them and arguing with them, but also just doing anything for them, wanting to protect them, and just the little things that they fought about, the clothes that they borrowed. Also related to the fact that she went to college fairly close to her childhood home where her sisters are still living. That is me at the moment. And every time she goes home, she goes into her sister's room and like steals back the things that they took from her. Like, it just felt so personal and so heartbreaking. If you have read Pretty Girls but you haven't read the prequel, you have to read it. It broke me, and by the end I was sobbing and wanting to read Pretty Girls all over again. Karen Slaughter, you shouldn't have. This is beautiful. Enough of the feels. I gotta talk about what I think is my favorite book of the year. Is everyone paying attention? Good. Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. Okay, I gotta do this book justice. I gotta give a good synopsis because I need everybody to read this book, okay? This book follows Louise, who is a single mom. Louise is just starting a new job, but when she goes into her new job, she realizes that her boss is someone that she made out with in a bar recently, and she's like, oh, that's awkward, that's not good. And then she realizes he's also married. And then in alternating chapters, you follow the perspective of the boss's wife. Louise and her boss, his name is David, start having this steamy affair. And she realizes that his marriage is a lot more troubling than it seems from the outside. That wasn't a great synopsis. I don't know if I would pick this book up if I heard that was the synopsis, but so much more happens that I can't tell you, and you just have to trust me on this. Go in blind. Don't read anything about this book. Don't watch a lot of videos about this book. Just read it. You have to read it. The twist at the end of this book blew my mind. I was screaming bloody murder. I'm pretty sure everybody in my building thought I was passing away. It's so good. I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes thinking about this twist. And then the way that this fits into Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough shook me to my core. And it's like a little Easter egg at the very end of Insomnia, but it reveals so much about the aftermath of this book and the twist and everything, and just the way that this is my favorite book I've read of the year so far. Please read this book so I can talk to people about it. That is everything that I read in the month of June. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I would love to see you around, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I will see you guys next time, and remember, if this dumb blonde is reading books, you should be too. Bye!